So excited to be here. Today we're talking about something that is often dismissed as soft or sentimental, but is actually one of the most powerful productivity tools in your arsenal: gratitude. In episode 15, where we talked about mini goals, we touched on the idea of pockets of time. Those little segments of the day we often throw away because we think, oh, they're too short to be useful. Today, I want to show you how you can use those pockets of time to refocus your brain, boost your energy, and actually get closer to your goals. All right, let's get started. We often think we can't be happy or satisfied until our to-do list is empty or we've reached a major milestone. But research tells us a different story. Gratitude is a way to acknowledge the goodness already present in our lives. In positive psychology research, gratitude is consistently associated with greater happiness. But here's the key insight for those of us who are focused on achieving more. Researchers from Harvard Health and the University of Pennsylvania found that people who practice gratitude experience more energy and more progress toward their goals. Interesting, hey? Why? Because when we are overwhelmed or stuck, our brain narrows. We focus on what's missing, what's behind, and what's failing. Gratitude does the opposite. It widens your perspective, giving your brain the space to breathe and step back into work with more clarity. Recently, I read a story about a woman that essentially described any one of us: a working parent, looming deadlines, a sick child, and a broken coffee maker. I laughed, wondering if the broken coffee maker was put on the bottom of the list only to be politically correct. In the story, she described herself as spinning, and that in the face of everything, she sat down at her desk one morning and just stared, not working, not thinking, just staring at the wall. Then out of the blue, a colleague texted her, "Thanks for helping me last week. You're awesome." That was it. 8 words. Those words of gratitude created a shift. She took a breath, made a list, and got through the day. That's the science in action, and brings me to what gratitude actually does for your output. If you think saying thank you is just about being polite, consider a study from the Wharton School. Researchers observed university fundraisers and found that when a manager gave a simple pep talk expressing gratitude for the team's hard work, those employees made 50% more fundraising calls the following week. Gratitude isn't just a feeling, it's a motivation booster. It shifts you from a state of pressure into a state of intention. And if you've been listening to me at all, you know that I'm all about intention and accountability. When you take a moment to be grateful, you are choosing how to use your time instead of letting your time run you. I'm all about offering new techniques, so I've got one for you that you can try either tomorrow or next week. Before you go into a meeting, take 60 seconds intentionally to think of someone you're genuinely grateful for. Then let the science happen. Here's exactly why it works. The spark. The spark of gratitude boosts productivity by triggering a mental and emotional shift that transforms how you approach your tasks and your time. Instead of working from a place of stress or lack, gratitude moves you into a state of intention and clarity. Here is how the spark specifically enhances productivity. The first thing it does is widen your perspective. Think about what happens when you're overwhelmed or stuck. Your brain narrows. It locks in on what's missing, what's behind, what isn't working. Gratitude does the exact opposite. It opens things up. It gives your brain room to breathe so you can walk back into your work, or walk into a meeting with real clarity on what you actually want to achieve. The second thing it does is boost your energy. And I don't mean in a drink more water kind of way. I mean it in a research-backed, measurable way. People who practice gratitude regularly report more energy and make more meaningful progress towards their goals. We already talked about the Wharton study, the 50% increase in productivity just from a manager saying thank you. That's not soft, that's a strategy. Third, and this one surprised me when I first read it, gratitude actually sharpens your focus and lowers your stress. Not after weeks of journaling, almost immediately. Although I am not opposed to a good gratitude journal, it has its place and space. But something as simple as writing a thank you note shifts your nervous system. Your mood lifts, the mental noise quiets, and suddenly you're in a much better headspace to do your work. Fourth, it can move you from pressure into intention. You know that feeling where your schedule is running you instead of the other way around? That's pressure mode. Gratitude interrupts it. When you pause, even for 60 seconds to acknowledge something good, you're making a choice. You're deciding how to use your time instead of just reacting to it. And that choice is where productivity actually lives. Intention plus accountability equals results. And the fifth thing, maybe the most underrated, is that gratitude helps you refocus on what you already have. So much of what holds us back isn't actually a lack of resources. It's that we're so fixated on what we think we're missing that we can't see what's right in front of us. Gratitude shifts that lens. It lets you work with what's there instead of waiting for conditions that may never arrive. Now, I want you to think about that. Gratitude shifts that lens. It lets you work with what's there instead of waiting for conditions that may never arrive. Put all that together, and that's the spark. That feeling of flow and forward motion that comes from simply acknowledging the good. It's not just a nice feeling, it's the fuel. Now, talking about this gratitude reminded me of a scene I wrote in one of my women's fiction novels. Yes, I write fiction because it is so much fun and a great way to use my downtime. But in this scene, there is a moment where the character experiences an offer that triggers gratitude and then action. In my novel, The Girl in the Peachtree, Chapter 4, my main character, Maya Wells, is at an airport gift shop and falls in love with a beautiful bead-covered pen that isn't for sale. It belongs to the cashier. As Maya leaves, the cashier runs after her and gives her the pen as a gift. Now, several minutes later, there is a scene in the book where Maya takes action and for the first time in years writes in a journal using this gift. I'm going to share an entry from Maya's journal that expresses her gratitude. I have to tell you, this is one of the most amazing moments I have ever had in my life. She just gave it to me, this pen I'm writing with. I know it sounds silly to be getting all weird about a pen, but honestly, if you could see it and feel it, you'd understand. It's so sparkly and pretty. It's everything I want to be. I can't believe how long it's been since I felt this special. My heart has been waiting for a long time. Thank you, cashier girl. Thank you, sparkly pen. Now, that spark that Maya writes about is what we need to fuel our productivity. Sometimes it's about writing down the experience. Sometimes gratitude is about paying it forward. And sometimes it's about a simple nod or acknowledgement. When you take that step, big things can happen. Now, several months after my story was published, I started receiving different kinds of sparkly pens from people. It was illuminating for me. I ended up having so many that since then I've been able to share that same sparkly gift of giving and experience the gratitude from others on receiving something so special. I'm ever so grateful that I can pay that feeling forward and hope to encourage others to do the same. So, how do we put this into action today? Well, I've come up with something called the 3-minute gratitude reset, a perfect time tool to use with a little pocket of time. Here is your action item. The 3-minute gratitude reset is broken down into 3 steps. Stop, identify, and document. Step 1, stop. If you're walking or driving, of course, hold on to the thought in your head. You don't need to stop in this exact minute. But if you can, grab your phone or a piece of paper. Next, identify. Think of 1 to 3 people who have touched your life or made a significant impact, recently or years ago. And number 3, document. Take 3 minutes to write down or to record a quick thank you note. It can be a text, an email, or a letter. Even if you have no idea how to get a hold of the person, write it down anyways. Document the gratitude. Feel the clarity. Feel the intention. Research from the University of Texas at Austin found that writing a simple thank you note boosts the mood of the writer almost immediately, lowers your stress, sharpens your focus, and lifts your energy. And And if writing a note isn't possible or not your thing, before we finish up, let's take a look at a few additional ways to build your gratitude muscle and reset your clarity and intention. One thing you can do is mentally thank someone. Simply think of someone who has done something kind for you and silently thank them. 2. Start a gratitude journal. Make it a habit to write down or share the gifts you received each day. 3. Count your blessings. Once a week, write down 3 to 5 specific things you're grateful for. Be specific and reflect on how those moments felt physically. Mindfulness meditation. Use your meditation practice, if you have one, to focus on what you're grateful for in the present moment. The warmth of the sun, a pleasant sound, or simply being still. Being thankful for what we have all around us in our universe can make all the difference also. And I encourage you, broaden your timeline. Apply gratitude to positive memories from your past, or be thankful for something that is coming up in your future. You can even write a thank you note to yourself. Oh, I think that is on my list for today. So, whether you choose to keep a journal or a stack of thank you notes on the corner of your desk, or love sending a good thank you gif off your phone, you're training your brain to refocus on what you have instead of what you lack. It may feel contrived at first, but this mental state grows stronger with practice. If your list feels too long today or your energy is low, try the reset. Take the 3 minutes. Choose one method. See how that shift in perspective changes your output for the rest of the day. Oh, and by the way, thank you. Thank you for listening and being part of something bigger than ourselves. Now go find your spark. Thank you for listening to this episode of Your Productivity Pulse. You're not alone in this. We're all learning how to navigate our time in a way that actually supports our lives. If you want a simple place to start, grab the free Time Disruptor checklist in the show notes and join the community. Let's start noticing what's getting in the way so we can begin to make the shift. Remember, intention plus accountability equals productivity. Until next time, keep listening to your pulse.